the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation?
I love those guys.
I know, man. Who doesn't? I mean, it's kind of an infatuation.
Good evening,
Yeah.
infidel.
What is going on? Olivia's on the soundboard tonight. We might as well go ahead and start introducing. Hold on. Don't start. This is what you do. I say the word introducing, and then you start punching the freaking button, and I don't even have a chance to
Somebody
tune
needs
in.
their button punched
Whoa. It's
right out of the gate.
It's highly inappropriate. That is my wife you're talking to. Do you think I'd ever say that to your wife? Like, first time I meet your wife, and I'm like, hey, looks like you need to get your button punched. You know, she'd be like, who is this dirty, rotten son of a... All right, folks, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. My name is Matthew Spear. I am the host of Don't Unfriend Me. Wow, we're covered by a black cloud. Sparkly effects. I feel like Dylan Mulvaney. Welcome to the show. To my left, and it's my left. I don't care about your left. My left is the illustrious
military, right?
Leroy Jenkins. Yes, Leroy Jenkins. And also tonight
How we
have...
doing, folks?
How we doing? It got to my right. Now it's to my right. Olivia Spear. Olivia is the weather girl, traffic coordinator, soundboard / person who throws her bra on occasion, like last night, which was interesting. Yeah, dude, it's totally one-handed.
She chucked her bra on air?
On air. Yeah, on air. People are like, get
I
a
am
room.
always
I'm
fascinated
like,
by that. Whenever we go to bed, my wife does this thing where she's able to like reach back there, one hand,
yes,
like slip one arm in.
Yep. That's exactly what she did.
And she pulls it out from underneath like
magic.
like Houdini.
It's magic,
unbelievable.
dude. And it like comes out of her armpit. And you're like, what the hell? You know, hair I can understand, but what the hell is that thing? And it's a bra. Yeah. And it's, and listen, I'm skilled. Like I remember the first time that Olivia and I were going to be intimate, and I slipped my hand up the back and I 2-finger undid her bra. And it was like the Bull Durham thing when he clips off her chastity belt and she's like, ooh, oh my. Olivia did the same thing. She's like, oh my. Because listen, one hand is 2-fingered is effective. Like one hand is fine, but 2 fingers, it's a skill set. It means either I wear a lot of bras or I've had a lot of practice taking them off. You get to pick.
Or you're a safe cracker. I mean, it could have been that too.
Well, it's possible. Do they do it with fingers anymore? Isn't it all like,
That's
drills?
How you get in the box.
That's a long... that could go so many different ways. Let's move on from this and reel it back. James Clemens is here. Amy's here. Lolly is here. Lolly has a orange is the new black avatar, which is interesting. Karen's here. Hi, Karen.
Judy's here from Rumble.
Hello.
Let's get ready to rumble. We need to get that. Glenn's here. I finally got Glenn's hat sent to him. It was a whole snafu. See, everyone thinks that I just print these shirts myself. First of all, that takes work, and no, I don't do that. So I have a company that does it for me, and they're fantastic. And they have print shops all over the world. So some people are like, "Oh my God, Matt, I didn't know you have a Canada operation." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've got a full warehouse in Canada." You know, they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Just like
Matt."
Amazon.
Right? I ordered something in Australia, and I can't believe you have an address because it says the Don't Unfriend Me store, and it's from like, Queensland or some shit, because that's the company, and the company's nationwide, and they send my stuff all over the world. So when people order stuff, that's what happens. So Mel ordered some coffee, and she's like, "I didn't know you had a manufacturing plant in Saskatchewan or whatever." I'm like, "Of course I do. I fly up there on the weekends." So in fact, I'm there right now. I have dual citizenship. I'm a Canuck. So anyway, so Glenn ordered a shirt. And then he sent it back and returned it. I'm like, well, this is a major, it got lost. There's no doubt, because you don't know what facility it came from, whatever. So the whole point is, if you have a return when you buy from the Donut From Me show, you contact me first. And then what I do is, if it doesn't fit or you got the wrong size, you're pretty much SOL, because there's a size chart on the site. But what I usually do is I let you keep it, you give it to a friend, and then I send you a new one. Well, I finally sent him his hat today. So I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up. Donald's here. Welcome. Tina Savage. Marianne Caggiano.
Any relation
Olson,
to Rick Savage from
Armstrong.
Def Leppard?
I'm sure it is. Marianne Caggiano Olson Armstrong. Wow, that is just an amalgamation of different nationalities all in one name. That's fantastic. Huh. I bet she can cook. Marianne, I'm not being sexist. It's just you have an Italian name, so you've got to be a hell of a cook. That's the least.
Yeah.
Yeah. South Carolina, Maureen is in the house. Maureen's good to see you. Chef Lady's here. Chef Lady. It's a good name.
Is it two different words, or is it Chef
No,
Lottie?
it's not Chef Lottie.
It's
Chef Lady.
It's YouTube.
I think I would. Chef Laddie. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I want to grab you Lucky Charms. I'm gonna nipple you in the butt. I say, we're going to grab you a pot of gold and take it. You fucker. Chef Laddie. No, it's Chef Lady, bro. I'm reading it. If you would read your chat, you would know these things. Carrie Bailey isn't. That's true. You're an intelligence specialist, of course.
Exactly.
Christine says, so punctual. I know. Isn't it great? It's awesome. Good to see so many people on. Ramona's here. Amy, how many we got on Rumble?
Ramon.
We
have 12.
Rhonda. Okay, well, that's been up in the 50s and 60s every night. So
9 on YouTube, which is average.
Yeah, Jason's here. Isaac's here. Jason, good to see you, buddy. Bubba, what is going on, Bubba? Jen Riddenauer. Good evening from Ohio.
From Ohio. All right.
Jen's soft on the eyes.
Yeah.
Jen's soft on the eyes. Look at that hat. That takes some guts to wear that hat. Look at that thing. That's like a hat that you would see from like, I don't know, like Pretty Woman. You know that girl, like, she's from Boston and she talks like this, and she was like the sidekick. Kit. Kit wore that hat.
Yeah. The sidekick of the star.
That black hat. Yeah. Okay. Mike Blankman says, "Oh, Mike's looking very tactical in his picture. Look at that.
Oh man,
he's got the wraparound.
He looks operator like right there.
Yeah, he does. He's got the USA freaking flag hat on. Yeah, he's got the freaking I'm
like James
overseas.
Reese right there.
I'm in country. That's right. He totally looks like the operator. Hello, Matt, Amy, Leroy, dummies. We're going to talk about the HOA Horn of Africa tonight. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Sudan a little bit. Brenda's here.
Had a few people ask about your interview today.
Oh, it sucked. See, here's the thing. Okay, I understand recruiters. Now, this is not me bragging. I'm just being me, right? Being honest as I can be. Ooh, that's slowing us down. No, it's not. Here, let me shrink this a little bit. That's like a 1.5 gig phone file. So we got to get that fixed. By the way, phone number's working, 804-504-1955. Call in if you want to talk to us. I've got Skype open, I believe. Nope. Now I do. So if you want to call in. So my interview. So I understand, like, when you're a recruiter, you see a good resume, you're going to do whatever you can to get that person to come in, right?
Sure.
So they see military intelligence, they see Apple, they see accommodations, they see, Wexler Group, they see NBC, Comcast, Xfinity. I mean, it's a good looking resume. And, they see vice president.
You're
and then
a good looking guy.
Well, thanks, buddy. Director of business and retail sales and marketing, director of business development, regional manager of the Pacific Northwest. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
So there's a company out now. You got to understand, in Washington, D.C., sales positions out here, they're $500,000 positions. Like, as an entry-level salesperson, $500,000. It's incredible because the contracts are here all government, Lockheed Martin, whatever. So when she talked to me, she says, well, your experience is that of an executive. So I want you to come down and interview with me personally, because I'm not going to offer you a standard sales job, because I want you to, get into executive management here, because that's what your background is, and that's really what you can do. And I said, okay, fine. And this is a recruiting company that recruits for, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Sandia Labs. I mean, we can just go on and on. They recruit for all major government contracts and alphabet agencies, FBI, CIA, whatever. So they do recruiting, and those government contracts pay them $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever it is, depending upon how many people they want to recruit. So,
right.
That sounds good to me. I've done plenty of recruiting in my life. So I was like, okay, I'll come in there as a sales and marketing type guy, and I'll run their national, sales program. That's fine. No big deal. And so I get there, and she's telling me, and so she immediately starts off with pay, and I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. I immediately know it's not going to be an executive position, because she's trying to fluff this for me. And I said, well, money's not the most important thing to me. And I appreciate it, but I've been there. I've made that much, and it doesn't buy happiness. So I'm okay if you want to throw that much money at me, but more important to me is what work I'll be doing. And she's like, well, we're going to have you in black tie. You're going to be going to, Toyota Hiring Our Heroes, and,
Okay.
Green Beret Foundation and Purple Heart Foundation and Travis Bank, and you're going to be, building relationships. And I said, so it's the business director sales position. That's what you're telling me. She goes, yes. And I said, well, thank you. But, the interview's done, and I really appreciate meeting you. And she's like, excuse me? And I said, well, the interview's done. And she goes, why? And I said, well, because that's not what we talked about. And she goes, but you don't want to hear the rest? And I said, no. She goes, well, you could at least just try and listen about the job. And I said, ma'am, after 25 years in executive management, I don't try out in the minors. So have a nice day. And I basically told her, I'm not gonna sit here for a standard sales position. I mean, it's ridiculous. You see the resume in front of you. You see the experience. It should start as regional sales manager or, executive director from a VP title at the very least. And if you're going to do that, you better throw $100,000 on the salary. Right. You don't take a VP and turn him into a front-end sales manager. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And it's not ego. It's just a matter of, you're wasting your time with me. You're wasting what I can and can't do.
There's structure about it, right? When you have someone that's labeled as VP of sales or as president of sales, that's not the type of person that is necessarily heading out onto the road. That's the person that manages your force.
Right. I've done 3 million miles on a plane. I've been 1 million miles in a car. I went through 4 vehicles, Olivia will tell you, and I've put 1 million miles. I've already done my time, right? Like, I don't try out anymore. It's like Bull Durham, Crash Davis. And, after 16 years in the minor, I don't try out. It's what it is. You know what you're going to get. So maybe I'm destined not to find a job, and I'm just going to have to make this work or whatever. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go down and work 16-hour days, drive to Washington, D.C. for 2 hours a day, and go rub arms with government officials and political action committees. That's not what I want to fucking do. Why would I want to do that? I don't care what it pays. They can pay $1 million a year, and I'm still not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
So I just told her, she's like, well, what are you looking for? And I said, well, what I'm looking for is what my skill set is. And my job is I rebuild companies. I change their brand. I change their mission statement, their overall structure of how they show up in the digital and auditory landscape and the print landscape. Full redesign, full re-envisionment, full email rollout, marketing rollout, acquisition on Facebook, social media, photographs, videos. Everything changes. All your print advertisement, your sales structure, your sales and your salesman structure. I mean, it's a complete overhaul, and that's what I've done for the last 3 companies I've worked for. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. It's just and maybe it's a little egotistical. And it's not like I just got up and walked out. I just said, hey, I just want to let you know this doesn't sound like something I would be interested in, but I really appreciate it. And it's, thank you. And she's like, well, I have somebody who wrote a book about social media, and I think she could find your skill set amazing. And I say, great, whatever. And I'm like, that's just a caveat prize because she didn't send out the email to that person. I knew she wouldn't. And I'm just like, and I wanted to tell her, can I provide you some feedback? The next time that you're going to try to, lure somebody in here, a big fish, don't be dishonest with them. Be honest, be direct. So anyway, how did it go?
If you know what you're worth, then go out there and get it. You know what I mean?
Right. How did it go? And like shit, that's how it went. Welcome, Amy.
On that note.
So I just thought I'd tell you. Damn, no, Amy. Nope, Amy's still sick. So Leroy got it. He got the HIV.
Oh,
and
man.
then it looks
brutal.
And then it looks like
I'm coughing.
Amy got the HIV.
This is my cough medicine for the night, folks. This is Woodford Reserve Double Oaked.
Ooh, I got some Woodford Reserve over
delicious.
there. Woodford Reserve is one of my favorite whiskeys. I love Woodford Reserve for sure. Watching in Louisiana, Dale, welcome. Michelle, hello. Kat, F.U. Leroy. Joyce is here.
Nice.
Michelle's in Tornado Watch. Oh, go
if
ahead.
I can give a special shout out to a Mr. Will Zippolo. I hope I got that right. Will, if you're watching, if you're listening, the phone lines are open, Bubba. It's 804-504-1955. Feel free to call in. We'd love to hear from you.
So who's Will?
If not, you're a chicken.
Who's
just
Will?
Somebody I had a little bit of a disagreement with. That's all.
Oh, I would love for
this.
this.
See if he's got the to give a call.
So here's the thing. Somebody said last night, why are you giving the 3-6 symbol, which is the OK symbol, and it's supposed to be white pride. I guess that this is W and this is, I don't fucking know. Who
Never
cares?
heard of it.
I have, but it doesn't mean that it means anything to me. Anyway, so the reason why is because when I talk, I see. My hands are constrained. Yeah, my hands are constrained. So I have to come out when I talk about this, and then I can only do so many things. I can't come in and whatever, and I can't frame it because I don't want to hit the mic. And I've trained myself, and I don't hit the mic very often. So I do this instead of bringing my fingers together, hands together. It's just, I don't know. But somebody's like, why are you making the 3-6? I'm like, because I'm talking to all my Ku Klux Klan brothers and my Aryan freaking Nation people in jail. We're coordinating a hit across 3 prisons right now for a guy named Walter White. What the fuck are you mean? What am I doing? I'm making freaking things with my hands. Here, what about this one? What does this mean to you? Can you go ahead and tell me? This is the shake weight. Are there any commercials that are more gay than the shake weight? I mean, it looks like it would give you a good workout, though. I mean, it does because you're good, but I just couldn't do it, right? I'd be in the exactly. I'd be in the mirror and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go have sex now. I'm turned on.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah. After
20
minutes with that thing, I feel like it's like a 1 pound weight. It's not even worth it.
Listen,
I lift 3 times that when I go pee.
Well, that's it's kind of funny. I just came. I was post surgery and I just had my 3-level fusion and I'm laying in bed. Of course, my back it's got a 12-inch scar on it, and I feel like someone's ripped out my spine and beat me with it like Mortal Kombat. And my sales team, who I was a part of over at Ultimate Electronics, this guy was named Jake. And Jake, you push the button. I'm going to talk. Jake is kind of a Brooklyn. New York style guy, so he's right. Exactly. He talks like this. Hey man, come on, man, please. Come on. So, he's in there. My mother-in-law's in there. And of course, my fucking mother-in-law was a nurse for like 5 minutes. So therefore she's got to tell me everything about being what I've got to do. And that's fine. And I love her to death but back then I didn't necessarily love her to death, but she's like, you've got to get up. You've got to listen to them. I'm like, dude, I'm 24 hours post-op. I got behind in my freaking morphine and they knew it. They gave me enough morphine for a 160-pound guy. So I woke up screaming in pain. And once you're behind on morphine, you can't catch up. It's impossible. So pain management was killing me. I was fucking dying. I felt like somebody ripped my spine out. And I was just, so Jake comes in to come visit me and the whole crew's there. And, because I'm that type of guy that really deserves visitors. Like I'm a jerk, but they were good guys. So Jake walks in. He's like, dude, oh my God, you look fucking like shit. You look horrible. What the? Oh God, you got hit by
That's a good friend right there.
Right. You got hit by a fucking truck, man. Doc, what'd you do to him?
Terrible.
Yeah, the doc walks in and he's like, Doc, you freaking killed my guy. What are you doing, man? Look at my guy. You fucking killed him.
He could have fit into Sopranos very well.
Right, totally. So he's sitting there, and of course Olivia's at home sleeping because she abandoned me that night.
No, I went and took a shower.
Okay.
And then I came home.
We're not airing our dirty laundry on this set. We have a different opinion about what happened that night. But of course,
all I said is I went to take a shower because I spent the night in the hospital and I came right back. That's
all right. Anyway, so she wasn't there. And of course, I'm grumpy. I'm pissed. I'm in pain. I miss my wife. That's all I want. I don't want anyone else. And Jake's walking in here and then mother-in-law's there. And of course, she pisses me off with the nurse because she's like, you need to get up. You need to walk. And I'm like, you know what? You don't ever need to motivate me. So Jake walks in for comic relief, and the doc walks in. And my doc is literally like John T. Sasha. This guy is the best orthopedic surgeon in like 12 states. He's from Colorado. He's ridiculously good. And he walks in, he's like, Matt, how are you feeling? I'm like, Doc, I feel like shit. I feel horrible. And he's like, listen, Matt, you do have to get up because we don't want any coagulation. We don't want any blood clots. Now, you don't have to do it right now, but within the next 12 hours, I need you up and walking. I'm like, yeah, of course, I'll be up and walking. No problem. And then he goes, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead and get on the walker. You're going to sit at the edge of the bed. You're going to be real careful. You're going to make sure a nurse is with you for your first couple steps, and you're going to have failure in your back. You're going to collapse. So make sure that you are strapped into your walker so you go down and don't hit impact on the ground. I said, okay, great. Any other rules? He goes, yes, no lifting anything heavy, nothing at all. No, not even a newspaper, nothing heavy. And Doc goes, dude, or Jake goes, dude, Doc, he can't lift anything heavy. How the fuck is he going to go pee?
Yeah, right. I saw that joke coming. That's like,
it's pretty.
Yeah.
The mother-in-law basically
kind of my mom
flew. Like she's like counting Hail Marys and spritzing holy water all over the place because she didn't find it funny, but I found it funny. And then Jake walks away and he's like, "Dude, your mom." He's like, "Dude, she's fucking smoking, man. She's so dude. Look at her feet, man. Look at her cute little feet, man. Her feet are coming out of those sandals. I fucking just want to suck on her toes." And I'm like, "That's not my mom, dude. That's Olivia's mom." He's like, "Oh shit. Well, I guess it's okay then." I'm just like,
did he ever say anything about me?
Oh, all the time. He talked about women's feet all the time. He's like, "Dude, look at her toes." This guy had a foot fetish, and he was such an obnoxious little shit. He had no idea what he was saying, so he'd be talking about his foot. A customer would walk in. He's like, "Dude, that's my customer. That's mine." I'm like, "Why is that yours?" He's like, "Dude, look at her feet. Look at her toes, man. She's mine." And I'm just like, okay. Funny guy, but just, total cokehead, total. He called me at like 2:00 in the morning and told me, he's like, "Dude, Matt, can you come get me?" I'm like, "Come get you where? Who is this?" He's like, "This is Jake." I'm like, "From State Farm?" He's like, "No, Jake from work." I'm like, "Oh, where are you?" I think Arapahoe County Jail." I'm like, "No, I can't get you, you blooming alcoholic." He's like, "Matt, I need bail. Otherwise I'm going to be in here for a year." I said, "Well, Jake, maybe that's what you need, buddy, but I don't have the bail to get you out. I'm sorry, man. I'm not going to come get you." He's like, "Okay, man. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon." He was in jail for a year. I mean, drunk driving is like a 6-1. Just, a guy you love, but you're just like, dude, you're fucked up as Hogan's goat, he's one of those guys. All right.
Anyway, that breaks your heart too, doesn't it? I mean, when you see people that you actually do care about and that are good people, you can tell they're either funny or they're entertaining or they have personality, but they just make poor decisions in life, and the next thing you know, they end up in a situation like that, and your heart breaks for him. But
because he's a good guy, he's just dumb.
The moment you go and help them, that they're going to end up in the same situation not 3 months later.
Yeah, and the guy perpetually smelled like Listerine, and that's the number one sign of a gin, guy is somebody who smells like Listerine all the time. But he's just a nice guy. He wasn't stupid. I don't like drunk drivers, but the guy was just, divorced, and he was just the nicest guy, though. He really was. He just would say inappropriate shit, but whatever. We all have our faults, I guess. All right. So listen, you like Jake, right?
Yeah, I liked most of them. You're one of your bosses, though. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Jim Ryback? Reddick?
Yeah, the short ball.
Yeah, it wasn't Casey Ryback. It was like Jim Reddick or some shit
like that.
Oh, that guy was a twat. He's like, "I'm a bounty hunter."
He would go on the Holly Madison page at work.
Yeah, dude.
And he's totally talking about, he's having an affair with like two different women. I'm just like,
Ashley Madison. Yeah.
It's where married people could go to
He knows.
It's
he's telling you it's called Ashley Madison. Not,
I thought I said Ashley Madison.
No, you said something else. I said Dolly Madison, which is a cupcake.
Got it. Yeah.
Which is also plays fairly well with the topic. Yeah. So Well, it depends. Anyway, so yeah, this guy was a horrible. This guy would just blow in the office. But this was Ultimate Electronics commission sales. Like Workman, who ran Ultimate Electronics, man, when he sold the place, he sold off a few different properties, and they had kilos of cocaine up in the tiles. I'm not kidding, dude. This guy was selling bricks out of the back. I mean, and Ultimate Electronics was huge. It was like the fourth or fifth largest. Yeah, dude, fourth or fifth largest electronics manufacturer. And then Mark Waddles came in and bought it from the Workmans. But yeah, it was just like they would sit in the back room and they'd do lines of cocaine, have a couple shots of whiskey, get out on the sales floor, go pound $100,000 sale, and then go to the strippers. This guy was so bad. He submitted P&L work expenses. He would go to strip clubs and he would write on a napkin the tips he would give the hookers and expense it as a company expense. So he'd be like $10,000.
This was Jim?
No, just follow along with the story. This is This is Dave Workman from the owner of Ultimate Electronics.
Got it.
So they were horrible, allegedly. I came in the tail end of that. Yeah, that was crazy. Scott Bertrand here. He'll tell you all about this. He comes on the show. I haven't seen him in a while.
You haven't seen Scotty in a while.
Yeah, he'll come on. He'll tell you. And he'll do an interview. He does crazy stuff, but they were all high and all crazy ass. And of course, I was a commissioned salesman. I was slinging TVs. All right, folks, listen. I appreciate you being patient. Sorry for all the stories. I didn't participate in that stuff. I'm just telling you what I knew. I was a good boy. The biggest thing I ever did was scotch. So let's get into it tonight. We've got a lot to cover. First, I did a segment last week on a gentleman named Harry Sisson. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. Does everyone remember this guy?
The name sounds familiar.
All right. Well, Harry Sisson, he's this whiny kid, and he does all these Second Amendment videos where, he's basically like David Hogg with about the same personality. It's bad.
I do remember that.
All right. Well, this is one of his videos. I want to give you here.
So the sale of AR-15 style rifles has now been banned in 9 states, but in reality, it should be banned in every single state. With the AR-15, for example, it's been used in some of the worst mass shootings in American history. Whether it be Uvalde, whether it be Parkland, whether it be Las Vegas, this rifle is dangerous, and the fact that it hasn't been banned yet is disgusting. But I can promise you, we're going to make it happen, and Gen Z is going to be the ones to do it.
So this guy is all over. Yeah, it's
love
so
his
cute.
passion.
Oh, well, that's not passion. That's called it's called something else. It's called a severe case of
stupidity.
Severe case of Lackanucky is what that's called. This guy
nice hair.
This guy's he's a Yutz, and he is a world class Yutz. And the reason why I call him a world class Yutz is because anybody who uses the same presentation style every single time he talks, it gets old. And I listen to the kid, right? I listen to everybody. I give everyone a chance. And I continue to go back to the well, even though it has a slight nutty pecan aftertaste and looks very much like urine every time I listen to this guy. He's fucking annoying. Pardon my French. I mean, to the point where we used to kick the shit out of guys like this in high school and stuff them in lockers. He's got one gear, and it's called fifth gear. And he does not have any other gears. And he's like this. And I swear to God, the guy, it's like he's on meth. Every minute of the day, it's this angry. And his hair perpetually keeps getting worse. I don't know what's going on. But, it
looks like he's in the middle of transitioning.
Well, I was going to say he's going to be trans any second now. Because his buddy, I'm going to show you a video of him next. And this is his, I wouldn't say boyfriend. But it's kind of hard not to believe it's not his boyfriend. But either way, they're both going to come out as trans any minute of the day. Listen to this jackass. I mean, this guy, he sounds like a white surfer, and then he sounds like Reverend Al Sharpton in the middle of a sermon. And this is Harry Sisson's love child.
This is a message to all the Republicans funded by the NRA, and this was inspired by a fantastic paper written by Chloe. Let me tell you something. Gen Z has sat by and idly watched as our friends and our family members are killed in schools and a gun epidemic has overtaken this country. We have sat by and we have idly watched over and over and over again as you value NRA money and the right to a gun over our lives. But this is what you do not understand. We are no longer watching. We are now voting. We are now in the streets, and I would be scared. Your time has come, and 20 2024 will be ugly. We are over this. Martin was a 14-year-old boy at Stoneman Douglas High School. He wanted to grow up and be in the Navy. He got shot and killed. You took away his right to be safe in school and grow up with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I promise you, you should be scared for 2024 because we are coming. We are coming. This is a mess.
First of all,
I was about to come right there.
Check, psychos.
Yeah, like I already came. First of all, and second of all, how dare you use the word liberty and talk about banning guns? I mean, seriously, bro, it's like, you know what? I want to talk to you about Christianity and the benefits of Satan in your life. What the fuck are you talking about? So here's my response video to this guy. I went and trolled his page, and I wanted to make him listen. I wanted to close the generational gap. I wanted to take the giant Grand Canyon causeway and waterway and the excavation of billions of tons of earth that separate him and I and make him a little video. Here it is.
So the sale of AR-15 style rifles has now been banned.
So what this says is essentially that's what Harry Sisson sounds like to Harry Sisson. Here it is.
So the sale of AR-15 style rifles has now been banned.
And then this is what Harry Sisson sounds like to anyone who's over 12 years old.
So the ban every or smash weather, days. The fact has banned.
But I could.
The fact has banned.
But I could.
Happen. Gen Z do it.
So the sale of AR-15 style rifles.
I thought it was a fairly apropos and accurate rendition of these two putzes. I want, listen, I think it's cute. Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
Listen, I think it's cute that Gen Z wants to get involved. Okay. I think it's cute. There's nothing wrong with young people wanting to activate and make an influence. I was fairly political at his age. There's nothing wrong with it. However, at his age, I had already seen most of the world. At his age, I had already had a weight of responsibility that would carry me through the rest of my life. And with that responsibility comes the ability to convey a message effectively, depending upon your audience. That kid, like if there was a sudden epidemic where everybody under the age of 18 could no longer talk and no longer access the internet, this kid would lose his entire platform. There are no idols that are 30 years old watching this. I don't, Republican, Democrat, or anything in between. Adults are watching that going, if I wanted to listen to this shit, I would ask my kid his own opinion.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't want to hear it. And you're alienated. So what this guy's basically saying is, I'm going to put a pillow over every other generation but Gen Z and smother you guys because your opinion doesn't matter. This kid is a flash in the pants.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably not.
What comes after Gen Z? What's the next generation? ABC? I don't know. 1, 2, 3.
Recycles, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think it recycles. I think they rename it something else. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. I think the way we name the generation is completely freaking stupid.
Yeah, I don't even know what generation.
So you had the baby boomers. Well, hold on a second. Let's do this the right way.
I think my mom's a baby boomer.
Okay, we're not doing
this
the right way.
That would make you a Gen X.
Oh my God, we're not doing this the right way. Shut up. All right, so let's try to do this the right way. Here are the generations. Here, are you ready? The Lost Generation, the generation of 1914. That's kind of like the Lost Boys. That would be a cool generation to be a part of. The Lost Generation. It's like, we're so disrespectful of, you're lost. You're just completely fucking lost. Roadmap and a compass is your name of your generation. The next is the Interbellum Generation. Did they have to change their name because that's racist in a southern plantation? The Interbellum Generation? Oh, that was antebellum.
It's only racist if you look at it retrospectively.
It's antebellum. So anter being anterior and inter being interior. So it's an inner slave plantation versus an outer slave plantation. Is that what I'm hearing? This sounds racist. An entire generation was racist. The greatest generation is 1910 to 1924. What a bunch of egotistical dicks they were. We're the greatest generation. Then after that, what do you have? This is wonderful. You have we're the greatest generation. And the next generation after that, 1925, 1945, is the silent generation. So you know what they said?
Right.
Shut up. You're not the greatest generation. Don't talk. In fact, this generation is going to be silent because we don't want to hear any more of you peckers. All right. Then 1946 to 1964, you had the baby boomer generation.
That's my mom.
None of these things make sense. There's no rhyme. It's not like hurricanes, right?
I understand the baby boomer because it started baby boomer generation.
Say
I understand that.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Yeah, no. Because that's right after World War II when all the soldiers got home. So there was a huge...
Yeah, I understand the euphemism, but what I don't understand is why none of it makes sense. Like you've got the Lost Generation. Sounds like a Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. You've got the Interbellum. Sounds like Battlestar Galactica. The Greatest Generation's off the Gatsby. The Silent Generation is off of a U-boat. And then you got the baby boomer generation, which is what was it? Look Who's Talking Too. So I don't understand. Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to, and then because the next one, here's the next one, Generation X, the baby bust.
That's me.
What the?
Well, what is Generation X? What years?
1965 to 79. It's Leroy and I. You're not there. Yeah.
Nope.
You're a xenial.
Oh, what?
A xenial. It's a little microbe that lives on the. It's hold on a second. It's a microbe that lives on the testicles of ants. It's called a xenial.
What
so 1975 to 1985.
Yeah.
You're a xenial. 1980. She's 1980. Wow. She's a baby. I robbed the cradle. I like them young, man. What do I say? Wouldn't have you? I mean, seriously? Come on. So anyway, millennials, Generation Y, and Gen Next. So here we go. From 1980 to 1994, you have 3 different names of generations. What the hell? Millennials, Generation Y, and Gen Next, all in one lump.
I thought I was Gen Y. That's what I thought growing up. I was Gen Y.
Well, you're either a xenial or you're a... See, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't make any sense. Then 1995 to 2012, it's iGen and Gen Z. iGen, which is for iPhone. It's funny. Then you have 2013 to 225. Listen to this bullshit. Like, this is ridiculous. This is like the genius generation. Gen Alpha. No.
When's millennials?
1980 to 1994.
Okay.
So Gen Alpha. Let me guess. Next one's going to be Gen Bravos. Because that would make sense. It seems like the next generation is the opposite of what the previous generation was. So anyway, Gen Z... They're going to be the largest generation on the planet. They're going to take all of us over. I mean, these people are going to smother us. And these, they have no love for the military. They don't like the United States. They think the entire country's racist, that it's full of white privilege, that, they have to have white guilt in order to survive. And this is the type of person that we have now. It's these little babies that we saw in Tennessee that were, throwing temper tantrums with megaphones and because they didn't get their way.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
Well,
here's my thought on the whole generation thing.
Please, gosh, this is a talk show.
Isn't like, I always thought it was like a decade. I always thought it was like the 80s.
No, generation is 20 years.
Okay.
Generation is 20 years.
Got it.
Essentially, the 20 years. It's a generation. A decade isn't a generation because you haven't reached adulthood. So,
okay, got it.
Yeah, it's a generation.
Well,
generation is 20 years.
The baby boomers were one of the largest generations that this country has ever seen. And what happened was after these guys got home from the war, they just swarmed in to the labor force, and it pushed the cost of labor down because there was just so many of them. By the time Gen X came around, Gen X is one of the smallest generations this country has ever seen. And so as the boomers are retiring, what's happening is there's this void that's appearing in upper management type openings, right? And there's not a lot of people to fill those positions. So much so that we're seeing that we actually can't fill them all. So there's that.
Well, Gen Z is not one of the smallest generations ever.
Gen X was.
Okay, because Gen Z is one of the largest generations, and they'll take over the largest generation in the next 5 to 6 years. And then we're all going to be too old, and they're going to kick us off this mortal coil. Too old. Well, I don't know about that. I can still whoop some ass. I could kick that kid's ass. I'm just letting you know. He seems a little hyper, right? If he got he could get a shot in, and I might go down like because one hit would be like 40 with him. He'd be like Mighty Mouse.
God, why did I just have that image of Dutch in the movie? Al Bundy just telling the kid, one shot right here. That's all you get. Next thing you know, he's laying on the floor with his pants split open.
Yeah.
You know what I think of when I think of Gen Z is Scott Pilgrim Takes Over the World.
Oh yeah.
The vegan dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, him. I can't remember.
Listen, they're energetic. They're excited. Okay, I get all that. That's fine. What I don't understand is why they have to. I don't know. It's the way they communicate that bothers me. And maybe I'm just being a priss, but I don't consider them to be factual. Like they've come out of the womb with
right?
They've come out with democratic talking points.
They're internet children. They don't know how to have a conversation face to face. They only know how to be keyboard warriors, and that's it. And that's how they communicate.
Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Go sow your royal oats or something, right? Get out there, have carnal knowledge of an actual woman, and get out and go have some heartbreak and go have some disappointment and see some other worlds. Like go take a look at Egypt. Go take a look at the Congo.
Oh man.
Go take a look at some of these countries and what they're going through and what it looks like when they're disarmed. It might be a good idea. I mean, don't we think? Before you start, prognosticating.
I have a little bit of knowledge in what has happened in the world, both, recently and in terms of like world history. You really get a flavor for why individual liberties are as important as they are. Because every time a state oversteps its boundaries, it costs people either in terms of their lives or their families' lives, but it also just costs just gobs of liberty from everyone. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And this country isn't, we don't exactly have the best track record when it comes, if you really think about that. It was during the 1920s when they had that Tulsa race massacre. That was just in the 20s. And then we've covered it here on the show before, like the Gold Confiscation Act, where they literally forced everyone to buy back. Here in the United States, you had to sell the government your gold, and then they revalued it so that they basically stole from everyone. And then there's the Japanese internment camps under Roosevelt.
Yeah.
We're not exactly immune from this.
Well, the United States isn't. And I can understand how people can be disenfranchised, but they teach all the bad, but they don't teach any of the good. They don't teach how the United States has been the linchpin in the development of the free market and the free world. And I'll even give England a little bit of credit that even though England monopolized the entire half the fucking planet at one point and was the largest empire, but that doesn't matter. The point is that I understand his disenfranchisement and that things need to be fixed, but there's a way to do it. And sitting there screaming on TikTok is going to do nothing. Right. It's like changing. It's like me doing this. Like I have no doubt in my mind that I'm not going to change public policy on this show. I won't. I'll never change public policy unless I get out there and actually impact and start talking to, politicians and building that network. And so I can only impact my circle and the people who I talk to. And I believe there's change happening there. Like the viewers that we have today are coming in and they're not necessarily just picking up on the vibe of the chat group and going negative. A lot of people are listening and learning, and they come in here and they have a more open mind because the rest of the crew does. But when we first got here, people were negative, then everyone would be negative. It was toxic. So I believe that what we're impacting is getting better. All right, so let's watch this. We've seen these little twat waffles, and I don't mean to insult them, but my God.
Well, you're asking an entire group to give up a
hold on a second. Hold on.
Go ahead.
No, we just lost Twitch, and you know what? I'm not going to cry about that. Okay, so something happened with Twitch. Go ahead, buddy. Finish up.
What I was going to say was, for them to advocate the absolute removal of a platform without holding the individuals accountable, not the weapon itself, is completely ludicrous. I mean, that's the point. That's what leftism does to people is they say, look, we don't trust you to own these things. We don't trust you to operate a gas stove We don't trust you to be able to buy a 2 liter of sugar-free or sugar-filled Coke. You're not allowed to do those things anymore because we don't trust you. And
I don't want a liter of cola. I want a fucking large.
Oh,
no,
there
it
he
was,
is.
I want a liter of cola. I don't want a
liter of
large. I
cola?
want a liter of cola.
I want a liter. He's like, can I get a burger with hold the spit? Dude, start Super Troopers. I'm with you, man. And that's the whole thing about this gun debate and this gun argument. They're never going to get it. See, like all this is a moot point. Everyone, they can put all the legislation they want. It's going to fail out of the SCOTUS, at least for the next generation or two. SCOTUS is going to shoot it down. You might have some restrictions come up. Yes, 9 states banned AR-15. And you know what states they are? It's states that you don't want to live. So who gives a shit? And I can tell you 30 states that have absolutely no restrictions whatsoever, and you can basically carry a Glock on your penis if you want to out in the middle of broad daylight. And who gives a crap? Nobody cares. So it comes down to this. If you don't want to live in socialist states, then don't move to blue states. And if you want more freedom, move to red states. It's pretty simple. The thing is
and
that
if you want to live in a more socialist state, move to that state. Don't move to the red states.
Right. Don't flee those red states, then come and start voting your shit like they're doing in Texas, because that stuff's got to stop. Okay, we got to move on. This is Joe Biden. I even didn't know. This is Secret Service Agent Sam Shepard. So
you were going to say Sam Seaborn, weren't you?
SSSS, Secret Service Agent Sam Shepard. Dude, did this guy look at he even looks like he's wearing the Secret Service freaking lapel pin. But he's got the frick. This looks he looks like a 19. He looks like dude, this guy's looking like he's covering Reagan. It's like he's playing dress up. It's like Hollywood is on the move, by the way, if you don't know it. Ronald Reagan's call sign.
Cosplay. Yeah.
Ronald Reagan's call sign. Hollywood's on the move. So he's the aviator sunglasses for a guy who was never an aviator. The Secret Service stare for a guy who never served his country. Right. He's just a clown. So you need to understand something. Donald Trump's numbers are horrible. They're bad. Joe Biden's are just as bad. Like this is the election that nobody wants. I mean, you thought 2016 was bad. Holy shit.
The election of the old fogies.
This is like, yeah, exactly. This is like voting for, Bert and Ernie, geriatric Bernie, or, like literally in the freaking convalescent home. Bert and Ernie.
Which one of those was orange?
Well, they both were.
Was that Ernie?
Ernie, I think so.
Ernie, yeah. Bert was tall,
Bert
with a skinny
tall,
head
skinny.
with a little black on top. Ernie had the orangish nose.
Rubber ducky, you're so
a meme
fun.
right there.
Rubber ducky.
You make bath time so much fun. Yes, that was Ernie.
Rubber ducky, you're so fun.
Rubber ducky. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's good, Leroy.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, anyway, so now that we're going to listen to this bullshit, so 70% of America doesn't want him to run again.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is 70%
of that is Democrats. 51% of Democrats don't want him to run.
But 70% of America doesn't want Donald Trump to run either. And the problem is that out of that 70 some odd percent that won't vote for Biden, 56% of them will vote if Donald Trump is the candidate. Listen, it can be anybody but Trump. It doesn't matter. Just put what America's saying is just stick anybody up there, just like they were in 2020. Put anybody but Trump. Just give us a Democrat that's a warm body. Anybody but Kamala Harris. We'll take Pete Buttigieg. We'll take Barry Sanders. We'll take Grandpa frickin' Joe. Anybody but Trump. And they showed you what they'll do. Now where the same signs are happening here. Anybody but frickin' Donald Trump. And Biden's gone. That's what they're saying. The question is, will he stop? Will he step down? Because listen to this. Listen to this fucking guy. And tell me that we want to risk having him be in office again. Here it is. Rubber ducky.
You got to find that song.
Okay. Here it is. Okay, maybe not. Let's do this again. My Lord. Let's try this one more time.
Looks like a total badass
One
right
more
there.
time.
Doesn't he?
Hold on. My sound is completely screwed up. Here we go.
Question. I think the next question is Mary Bruce, ABC.
Listen, he has to write it down. I'll give Obama credit. Obama didn't even need to use the teleprompter ever.
Right.
He just knew it.
Obama was a fantastic orator.
Yeah,
he really was.
Trump wasn't even bad. Now, when Trump went off on his tangents, oh my gosh. But when he stayed on the teleprompter, he delivered a good speech, but he would go off and do his little thing, and he was fine. Yeah, there's sometimes he went off, not sometimes, most of the time he would go off and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just get back on point.
His ad-libbing was not good, but
at times,
he could still deliver.
Huge, best ever, I promise you, attention, huge. You know, you're just kind of like, whatever, man. And Obama's just like, hey, little Joe Forward, how you doing? Hey, you know, and he had it. He would, all right, ABC, Bethany, hey, Bethy, go ahead. You know, and you're just like.
He had charm.
Obama had charisma for sure.
He did,
He really
you know,
did.
I mean, old Barry did it right, you know. Here's Joseph Biden.
Thank you, Mr. President. You recently launched your re-election campaign. You've said questions about your age are legitimate, and your response is always, just watch me. But the country is watching, and recent polling shows that 70% of Americans, including a majority of Democrats, believe you shouldn't run again. What do you say to them? What do you say to those Americans who are watching and aren't convinced? You've said you can beat Trump again. Do you think you're the only one?
Popsicle dynamite windmill is what I say. And potato.
Trump? Who's Trump?
I'm getting there. Which one?
You know we're showing Biden. Why wouldn't you have Biden pulled up?
I don't know.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
And why is that so?
Because not a single thing he said is accurate.
Yeah, that wasn't that good, Liv. You got to get ahead of the segments. I mean, you know, listen, we're gonna have a little work. We're gonna have a little bit of.
was a bad dude.
There you go.
Is that better?
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
We're gonna have a little one-on-one chat later. You know, about your performance. I'll be like, you've been a bad employee.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I may not be
Not
the
gonna
only
say anything.
one, but I know him well, and I know the danger he presents to our democracy.
Here, hold on a
You're
second.
the only one.
I may not be.
You've said you can beat Trump again. What do you say to them? What do you say to those Americans who are watching and aren't convinced? You've said you can beat Trump again. Do you think you're the only one?
I may not be the only one, but I know him well, and I know the danger he presents to our democracy, and we've been down this road before.
Yeah, we have every fucking day. Can you just answer the question? Why does it always have to go back to Trump?
And with regard to age, you know, and polling data, I noticed the polling data I keep hearing about is that I'm between 42 and 46% favorable rating, et cetera. And but everybody running for re-election in this time has been in the same position. There's nothing new about that. You're making it sound like Biden's really underwater.
When you talk about yourself in the third person, you're in deep trouble. Like that Joe Biden guy, fuck that guy. I wouldn't even vote for him. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. Seriously, if you're going to go ahead and talk about favorability rating is always low at the end of election going into a midterm or going into a primary.
Whenever anybody talks about themselves in the third person, it's always because there's a mild tinge of embarrassment. It's like when you go to the doctor and you're like, well, see, my little friend here, he really can't get up all the way. So I need you to prescribe him some of those little blue pills. That's what
I've never had that problem, Leroy. What
I'm saying is they always refer to it in the third person out of embarrassment.
Are you saying that your phallic is flaccid and unused?
No, I'm saying that's how they listen. This is me right here.
He was asking for a friend.
This you're basically gray and rocky. I don't
exactly right.
It looks like it would hurt. Is that like sandpaper? Was that granite? Okay, well, remind me never to go ahead and drink champagne and listen to Barry Manilow with you. Just telling you. I don't want to wake up literally and feel like I just got like nailed by the rock giant from Neverending Story. The rock biter.
I like big rocks. These hands look strong, don't they?
You're not the only one who can do impersonations, buddy.
The nothing came and swept the little stale man and bat away.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe, it's from Neverending Story. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's why I never saw that.
Never-ending story.
Yep.
Sail away along the magic sea.
I don't know this
Never do
part.
that again.
Tell me, you've never seen Neverending Story?
Never seen it.
I've never seen it.
You need to get off the show right now and go watch. Dude, are you kidding me? Sarsax?
I'm not a 9-year-old girl.
Atreyu?
Dude, it came out
What the
when
hell's
I
wrong
was
with you, man?
when you were a kid.
You don't even know what the fuck a luck dragon is?
Atreyu.
Oh, forget about this guy. I can't stand this guy. The Nothing?
Whatever.
Warg? Come on, man. Get with the program. All right, you need to do me a
The
favor.
last movie that I saw that was like that was
Debbie
Labyrinth,
Does Dallas?
where it was like
Labyrinth sucked.
Where it had-
Labyrinth's David
Yeah, I know,
Bowie.
that's what I'm saying. And that's
cannot
probably what
beat
killed
up a
it for me.
diamond.
No, fuck that. Jennifer Connelly.
16 when that came out.
So, okay, listen to me. Your homework tonight is to go watch The Neverending Story and just cringe. But it's so good. It's so cringeworthy, but it's so good, dude. It's so good. Okay? Go watch it. All right, let's finish this.
Number one. Number two, when the same polling data asks whether they think what kind of job I've done, it gets overwhelmingly positive results. From 58% thinking everything from the CHIPS Act and all the things we've done. You know, we've created, like I said, we've created 12 million new jobs. We've created 800,000 manufacturing jobs. We have economic growth moving. We're in a situation where the climate, we've invested more money and more help in dealing with the climate crisis than any nation in the world. And so things are moving. And the reason I'm running again is there's...
Listen, Pam, I've been drinking Metamucil, and things are starting to move. They're starting to break up, and any minute, we're just going to go ahead and open up the floodgates and let that sucker go and be birthed. Listen, we just need to wait for this 10-pound baby boy that's coming. It'll be any day now, and when it does, it will no longer be transitory.
So the thing is,
Job to
the
finish.
government
Yeah.
doesn't create jobs just so that
No, they
everyone's
don't.
aware of it.
No, they don't.
All the government can do is either directly hire government employees in terms of these are people that essentially get paid your tax dollars, or they can cultivate an area to make it fertile so that private companies can come in, right, set up shop, and hopefully make something that produces them a profit. But
Or
here's
they
the
can
problem.
deregulate, or
that's
incentivize. There's
exactly
plenty of
where I was
things they
headed with
can
that.
do. Right.
That's exactly where I was headed with that, was that when you artificially do that by giving them taxpayer money to make them more competitive, then they're really not being any more efficient. The only
That's
way
correct.
that works is if you leave them the hell alone. Because if you don't do that, you risk later, right, that company failing, and then the government has to come in and bail them out, just like Ford and GM and everything else.
And
So
let's
no,
be
the
let's
government
be
does
really
not create
clear.
a job.
And be really clear, is the government is absolutely responsible for stimulating the middle class. But once you do it, he's right. It's hands off. And how you stimulate the middle class isn't like reaching and cradling and, moving your fingers, or one up the prostate. What you ultimately do is you take regulation away and you unchain the middle class and you take the shackles off and let them prosper, and they will work themselves out. The free market will manage itself based upon supply, demand, price, everything else. So the people who are increasing prices based upon on need and necessity will eventually, supply and demand will balance that out. And the best way I can describe it is every time there is a video game console release, right? Companies pour millions upon millions of dollars into these video game systems, and they get them and they don't make any money. The only ones that make money are the larger conglomerates like Best Buy, Amazon, whatever, because they buy the games and the hardware and the cables and everything else. But the local market can still get market share from them because some people don't want to wait 24 to 72 hours for Amazon. So they go to the local GameStop. But every time you don't buy a control or a cable or a game and just buy the system, you're actually hurting GameStop. You're hurting the local mom and pop. So the market will balance itself out. And then what happens is there's such a large flux that hit Amazon. Amazon goes on a delay, and then the mom and pops and then the smaller companies make up that gap and fill the local need. That's the free market balancing itself out. And there's no better example of that, because then what happens after 4 years, Amazon loses its ass because the need for the system is done and nobody buys them anymore. They don't sell any peripherals as much as they used to. But the one thing is that games like places like GameStop and places like the local mom and pop shop do trade-ins for used games and used controllers and trade in old systems, and then you make a killing. Like right now, GameStop's doing very well because they are out of the next generation of cycle, and now they're starting to get trade-ins, and it's revitalizing their business. And then what will happen in another 7 to 8 years? They'll tank. And it's cyclical. And that's the free market at work. Absolutely. Now, if the government comes in and says, okay, every time GameStop has a down year, we're going to go in and we're going to infuse their company with cash and give them money, or we're going to make regulations that Amazon can no longer sell systems, and we're going to limit the amount of systems that Amazon can sell by regulating them, then you ultimately destroy that trade-in 4 years down the road that sustains GameStop and gives them some of their largest quarters and helps their company succeed. Don't you understand? When you do one, you do it to the other. So when he says, I create jobs, it's a complete lie. It's a fallacy. The middle class creates jobs. That's who creates jobs in the United States. Sorry, Leroy. I know you were trying to talk, but I wasn't going to let you jump in there. I apologize. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
You're good now.
Oh, shit.
You stole my thunder.
Whatever. Let's listen to Alyssa Biden.
Play, yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
That's the soundbite we need. I don't have it.
We don't have a come on, man.
Nope.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I don't know why this one keeps locking up, because my computer doesn't like horse shit. That's what it is.
Now think about what I inherited when I got elected.
Oh, the Bill Clinton two-step. Here we go. The Bill Clinton two-step. Oh, look what I inherited. This is Obama. Look what I inherited. Look what I inherited. Look what I got. Let's blame the other guy. A bunch of full of shit.
I inherited a nation in overwhelming debt at the time. Number one, in the hole for the 4 years that he was president. I inherited a nation that had a serious loss of credibility around the world as America first. And the first meeting I attended the G7, I said, America's back. And one of the world leaders looked and said, for how long? For how long? There's a great concern about the United States being able to lead the free world. And we're doing that again. And those same polls you look at, you take a look at the polls, they're saying whether I pull together NATO and the European Union as well as Asian partners, I think we have. But there's more to do. And with regard to age, I can't even say, I guess how old I am, I can't even say the number. It doesn't register.
Nor can we.
And but the only thing I can say is that one of the things that people are going to find out, they're going to see a race, and they're going to judge whether or not I have it or don't have it. I respect them taking a hard look at it. I take a hard look at it as well. I took a hard look at it before I decided to run. And I feel good.
This guy hasn't taken a hard look at anything in at least 40 years. Let's be honest. It's just dust. When he pees, it's the Sahara.
Good. I feel excited about the prospects. And I think we're on the verge of really turning the corner in a way we haven't in a long time.
Reminds me of Adam Sandler in Anger Management. I'm on the verge of exploding in my pants.
You're tired of hearing me say we're at an inflection point. Well, we really are. What happens in the next 2, 3, 4 years is going to determine what the next 3, 4 decades look like. And I have never been more optimistic in my life about the possibilities of the United States.
To be clear, though, you just said I know him well. Did Donald Trump's decision to run affect yours? Would you be running if he wasn't?
Yeah, I think I still would be running if he wasn't. I do know him well.
There's no one else.
Hard to know, as you know. You know him well, too. The question is whether or not, look, there's more to finish the job. we have an opportunity to put ourselves in a position where we are economically and politically secure for a long time. Look, we continue to have, and now you don't like me hear me saying it.
Yeah. I want someone to stand up and be like, no, hold on, real quick. I just want someone to stand up and be like, we're fucking looking, okay? How many times are you going to say, we're looking? How can we be staring at you anymore? If you say look one more time, say what again, motherfucker? One more time, say it. Marcellus Wallace will slap your ass up. Okay.
Hey, you shut your face. If we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet.
Seriously, man. Say what again, motherfucker? Go ahead, Leroy.
Okay. So, in terms of GDP, right? The United States is the most secure economy in the world. Less than 8%, it's like 10%, somewhere below 10% of our GDP is held up in exports. Okay. We are not one of those countries where if we don't participate with the rest of the world, that we crumble. That is not the United States. So when he's talking about building a secure economy, it's something that already exists. All he has to do is to not
fuck it up. That's it. We finish each other's sentences. Can we start doing each other's hair?
Sure, why not? Can you?
I'm gonna have to do your back. I'm gonna have to do your back hair. So
there's plenty of.
So they do me too. Olivia's like Rapunzel. Rapunzel might just take the back door and climb up the back. You'll get there. So Olivia's trying not to throw up. I thought she was trying not to laugh. She's trying not to puke. So listen, I can't. It's gotten to the point where I just can't make fun of him anymore. There's nothing of substance that he has to say. So here's what it comes down to, people. You need to embrace the thought that Donald Trump may not be the RNC's decision for the primary. It just may not happen. If the numbers continue to look the way they look, they're not going to endorse him.
It's just not actually be better if he wasn't. That would actually bump up the odds of a Republican win, in my humble opinion.
But why wouldn't he do it? Why would Donald Trump not say, listen, he runs it behind the scenes. He does what Obama's doing. He's at every rally. He would just crush it, man. It would get him out from underneath the pressure. They would have to stop the legalese against him, all of this stuff, because then it just looks like targeting. If he's no longer a threat in the public eye, just take some time off, man. Go write a few bestsellers. Go do the lecture circuit. Go make freaking $250,000 a session on the lecture circuit. Go be a retired president. Go have impact. What's wrong with that? Why can't he understand he's won? He won. He got elected. He completely dethroned Obama. He rubbed it in his face. He showed him how a president runs. He had great policy. Even the Democrats will admit that. They'll never say it on live, but they'll tell you know what? I like his policies. I just can't fucking stand the guy. He actually did some really good things for the country. We can't stand him. And therefore, we will never give him credit for it. But most Republicans will say, or moderates will say, I just don't like him. Just step back. Just a little bit, right? But what is he doing? He's tearing up DeSantis. He's going after everybody right now. And it's just like, bro, if your numbers stay this way, it would be complete suicide for the Republicans to actually go with you as the nominee.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. He's so divisive that any movement away from Trump, if they were to put anybody with even a little bit of charisma in as far as a Republican nominee, with 70% of America not liking Joe Biden in that position, that would be a really, really strong race for the Republicans, I think.
Listen, Donald Trump could win against Biden. Biden's so unpopular, people might be thinking pocketbook versus mean tweets. And it was opposite. In 2020, they were like, mean tweets, we can't stand this anymore. Our pockets can take a hit. Financially, we're doing well. But it's gonna be a gamble. It's a toss-up. It's a crapshoot. Why not go with the younger generation of the Republican Party now? There are people who can run against Joe Biden and win. All you need is somebody who can do 2 + 2 = 4, because Joe Biden certainly can't. And you listen, I don't care what you think about DeSantis. He's got moxie. He's got chops. There's other people in the Republican Party who have the same. We just need to understand what's best for America. What do you want? You want 4 years of Donald Trump again, or do you want 40 years of toxic sludge? Because that's what you're going to get. He's already put us back economically for 20 years. That's what the Fed is saying. That's what FDIC says. That's what Wall Street says, is that this is going to take 20 years to recover from his bullshit economy. So, yeah, can Donald Trump honestly fix it? Well, there's only so much that market confidence can do. And we got to see that. The moment that Donald Trump took office, you saw stocks go up, you saw investment properties go up, you saw the real estate market increase, you saw the disproportionate amount of imports to exports to debt ratio that we saw, you saw the GDP go up, you saw all the revenue growth for small business go up, you saw unemployment go down. I mean, you saw all these numbers literally change within a quarter. You'll have that, but is it enough? Is it enough to sustain? Because the one thing that nobody wants to talk about, and the 800-pound gorilla in the room, is COVID or not. Look at the last year of Donald Trump's presidency and what happened to the economy. Look at the instability in the stock market that took place. The confidence and consumer confidence was no longer there for Donald Trump. Can he come and bring it back? Or are people going to remember and still be kind of hogtied to the notion that Donald Trump is volatile? Leroy, what do you think?
If the Republicans can make this race about the economy, about Ukraine, about the strengths that the Republicans have in their corner, then they can win. If the Democrats can continue to push on, and I didn't think it was going to leverage the way it did, but if they can continue to push on abortion, on more of the fictitious parts of what he's saying, that like, oh, well, we've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to get a lot done. If they can continue to push on that kind of gibberish, they stand a chance, and that's problematic. Something that you had mentioned real quick at the beginning of the podcast, I had made a call out to a guy named Will Zappolo. He never did call in, and just so that everyone is aware, the point of our debate, the point that I had in contention with him, was one of inflation. And this is a really good point for a presidential debate, because it is one where this is one of those linchpins that could sink the Democrat Party if it's properly played right on the Republican end of things, right? Inflation only comes from two sources, folks. It comes from too much government printing of money and too much government spending of money. That's it. The reason it's not handled by any other facet of the economy is because the rest of the economy is not held responsible for how much money gets printed. The printing of the money out of the Fed is what devalues your money. Sorry, I just wanted to
real quick. No, that's fine. Rhonda, well, this is going to be on point. Rhonda says, that's not fair. COVID happened. Okay, so Joe Biden's economy is because of COVID too, right? Let me explain something. The stock market is not based off of, that's world economy. It's not just national. It's not just based upon the U.S. The stock market took a massive dip during COVID. I am talking that there was volatility from a global perspective. There were issues with China manipulating currency. There were trade deals that were supposed to go through that were supposed to be more balanced that weren't. And overall consumer confidence, people went from a very bullish market or a bear market, and investments and long-term runway style investments became shorted, and people started pulling stock. They started seeing the forest of the trees. Now, the president has a very, very important job to do, which is to maintain consumer confidence. And he did that through most of COVID. And we just saw the final drop off before the election and started seeing about the last 6 months. The first few months of COVID, it stayed relatively the same and the economy did fairly well. But you have to remember, Donald Trump shut down the United States just as much as Democrats did.
Yep.
He shut down the schools just as much as Democrats did. He listened to the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it wasn't there. Now, you can say, well, Donald Trump tried, but we have to call a spade a spade. Donald Trump made some bad decisions when it is in regards to COVID. He did. And I towed his line for 3 months when he would get out there every day at 5 o'clock and speak to the public. I love that about him. But for you to sit here, and say it's not fair, well, it's not. 9/11 wasn't fair for Bush. It wasn't fair that Bill Clinton destroyed national defense and cut all the military spending, and Bush literally had to run us into a deficit because of ramping up the military because of 9/11. That's not fair. The housing market crash isn't fair. Obama inherited an economy that was in the fucking tank. That's the truth. And Obama just kept it flat for 8 years. That's all he did. He didn't grow it. He didn't shrink it. He just kept it flat. Donald Trump came in and absolutely shook the economy to its core and took away regulation that had been throttling it for years. Yes. And punished people who were manipulating currency, dumping steel into our country, giving us inferior products with horrible trade deals, and he just turned everything on its head. So if I'm going to give him credit for 3 years of his presidency that he did the most bang up job that we've seen any president do in recent memory, you have to hold him accountable for the year that he took his eye off the ball. And he really did. He pushed the vaccine forward. It became COVID. He listened to the media who had the death toll up, and he was told by people that the only thing you should focus on is COVID. And that was the biggest lie. Donald Trump should have stood up and said, I'm not feeding into the fear. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our plan. Here's our strategy. We're working on a vaccine. We need to keep going to work. We need to keep going what we're doing. We need to keep the people who are the most vulnerable, just like we would with the flu, just like we would do with flu and cold season, keep them on lockdown and protect them. But healthy, able-bodied people need to go out and go to work. And that's what we need to do. The people who have pre-existing conditions, we're going to work remotely. We need jobs to be understanding. We're going to do this for an extended period of time until we can beat this thing. And that's the way he should have done it. Instead of building into the Fauci fear and all that and the Fauci ouchie and all this other bullshit, it created instability. It created doubt. And it's easy in hindsight for me to sit here and say this. So I don't condemn the man, but it doesn't mean we have to ignore it. We can't ignore it. We've got to be honest. And everyone pretends that. Hold on. Everyone pretends Trump's putting out these fucking ads right now in DeSantis that it's locked down Florida. It's a horrible state. Trump's not doing any favors for himself right now. And I don't know why you guys continue to defend his actions. He's fucking things up right now. His candidacy is a joke. DeSantis hasn't even announced that he's run, and he is spending millions on ads every single day to destroy DeSantis. And DeSantis is just sitting back going, I haven't even announced I'm running.
Right. Smart.
Donald Trump should be spending his time going after this amazing run of bullshit from Joe Biden. He should be hitting Chinese balloons. He should be hitting fentanyl. He should be hitting inflation, how it's transitory. He should be. Why is he in Ireland? What's this video? Why can't he get out of the basement? I've told you before, if Trump does not get Biden out of his basement, Joe Biden is going to run the same campaign and win. Kennedy is getting Joe Biden out of his basement more than Donald Trump is right now. Donald Trump's focusing on DeSantis. He's focusing on the state of Florida, and he's got this boner for Ron DeSantis, and I don't understand why. Because Ron DeSantis isn't even polling even close to Donald Trump, and the fact that he's recognizing him is just adding validity to his campaign. It's what Donald Trump did to the field of 17 Republicans is he would go in there and they were all talking about him, and he's just mopping up all the media. He's just like, bring it on, man. Free money, free advertising for me. DeSantis is doing the same thing to Donald Trump, and Trump doesn't see it. He's playing him like a fiddle. Sorry, Leroy, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Well, one of the points that you made when you were addressing one of the dummies is that, we can look at things that are fair, or we could look at reality and just make our moves based off of that. We can all decide that's not fair, or, that's not fair. it doesn't matter. None of it is fair. Let's work with what we have, right? And something that the Democrat Party often does is they tend to view the world through the lens of this is how things should be. Let's be the party for this is how things are, and let's make our best decisions based off of that. And real quick, Eric I'm not going to pronounce that right. McLagan, he said, "You're the joke, buddy." And I think he was talking to Matt. That's just hurtful, Eric.
No, it's
How'd
not.
you
Who
say
gives a
that?
fuck? The guy's got a phone number he can call in. If he had any moxie, he'd call in and make it. I'm done. The trolls don't bother me. You know what? Because here's why. Because you can't point out why. Right. See, show me on the doll where the truth hurt you. See, the people who are the most loyal to Trump are the biggest detriment to Trump because he has surrounded himself with people who won't tell him the truth. At least I'll say the truth. And he may never hear it. You know, I left him an amazing video that 750,000 people saw. And I hope he saw it. I really do. I hope somebody in his circle showed it to him because people generally liked it. And I'm not bashing Trump. Why is it that when you tell the truth, you guys are just as butthurt as fucking liberals? What is up with you Trump loyalists that can't say anything somewhat remotely critical of Donald Trump without literally getting your feelings hurt? Well, I'm a Trump supporter. I want to see the guy. I want to see him be successful. I want to see him pony up and actually run against Biden and stop the grab ass with DeSantis. That's what I want to see.
Hey, to that end, I'd love to see Biden be successful. I don't want to see anybody in that office fail, but it's their policies that put them in the position where they're at, where they can be criticized, and whether or not those policies are an advocate for the individual citizenry, or is it for expanding the government and more government control? Here's
the other thing. People are saying, well, Donald Trump did it right. He put power back to the states. That's not true. He shouldn't have. Responsibility and safety of the people of the United States of America is the government's responsibility. It's not the individual states, because Texas doesn't give a fuck what happens in North Carolina. And California doesn't care what happens in Florida. You can't leave it up to the states for national defense. That's why it's called national defense. He's got the pocketbook. He's got the money. He has a direct line to the House of Representatives. He is responsible with the governors to decide what happens. I disagree. In a national emergency, you don't leave it up to the states. You make federal mandates, and I told you what they should have done. As of this time, A, B, and C, here's what we're going to do. We're going to block and shelter in place the people who are most susceptible, the people who have predetermined conditions. That's what we're finding out. Diabetes, heart disease, cancer, any medical conditions that have been life-threatening in the last 5 years, those people, or over the age of 65, 75, need to shelter in place. And what's great is most of those people are retired anyway. So the workforce continues to move on. If you're in good standing, good health, you're not obese, whatever, we need to get you out there. You need to mask up, you need to hand sanitize, do all that type of stuff, social distance, but let's keep the work open. Let's keep the businesses open. I'm not going to sit here and just allow Walmart and Best Buy to open. We've got to open up 96% of the most thriving heartbeat of America, which is small business. We're not going to allow it to shut down. That was the right decision. But people go, he listened to the wrong people. Well, then I don't want him as president. If you listen to the wrong people, why the fuck would I want you to be president?
Right.
You can't say that to me, because Donald Trump didn't listen to the wrong people, because for 3.5 years, he had the biggest balls in 20 counties, and he did what he knew he had to do. He stuck to his guns. They told him not to put tariffs on China. I disagreed with it. He did. It worked. USMCA, he completely revitalized NAFTA, shut NAFTA down, put USMCA in place. He got bipartisan legislation passed. I said that was great, and he did it, and it worked. 3 peace treaties in the Middle East, where no other president in U.S. history has done that. He recognized Jerusalem as a free and independent state. No, every president since fucking Eisenhower have promised to do that. Trump's the only one who did it. No conflicts, no proxy wars. Saved American lives in Afghanistan. He shut down the caliphate and went after ISIS and removed them from 17 different countries, not by running proxy wars, by cutting off the head of the snake by going after their command, control, and communications. Cutting off their funding and seizing their bank accounts, taking the gloves off with the generals and telling them that there's no ROE anymore and just go ahead and have full joy. That's what Donald Trump did. Yeah. Would you like me to go on? I am a Donald Trump fan. In fact, I'm probably the biggest fucking Donald Trump fan, but he's not being Donald Trump right now. He's playing grab ass and he's releasing NFTs on Truth Social. And he's getting into pissing matches with people who haven't even announced they're running for president. Folks, this isn't what it's going to take to win.
Right.
He needs to go after Biden, and he needs to go after Biden today, not tomorrow.
If DeSantis never runs, he's going to look like a total jackass.
That's right. He's going to waste millions of dollars.
Right. In this giant chess game, he's making some bad moves right now.
Trump tried to get reelected in the last 6 months of his run, and he made some bad decisions. That's the truth. And whether you like that or not, I don't care. He got nervous and he got scared. He listened to the media for the first time ever, and he allowed them to go ahead and make it about COVID. And if he just would have stuck to his guns and talked about policy and not get in a pissing match with Joe Biden and give him credibility, he wouldn't have looked small on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about all this stuff, but you know what? This is just political strategy. It's not personal. It's just business. You shouldn't take it personal. If somebody is speaking out against Trump, this is the difference between someone speaking out against Trump and not. I don't like Donald Trump. I think he's an orange clown, and I hate his guts, and he's a racist xenophobe. Okay, those people, don't listen to him. Don't listen to those people. They're fucking morons, every one of them. But if someone's telling you, I want to go ahead and tell you the good things he did, I want to tell you the bad things he did, and what he should not do now in the next 17 months until the election, I'm going to listen to that person. And if you don't, you're part of the problem. You're just as entrenched as the left and won't hear anything negative about Joe Biden. Do you understand that everything he does, no matter how big of a turd it is, they somehow polish it into a gold nugget? How? Why? Joe Biden is not a good president. We are not in a good spot. Dude, interest rates on fucking houses are sitting right under 7%. 7%. I got locked in at 2.25%. Leroy, what did you get locked in at?
I think mine's at it's just north of like 2.5.
7% on houses. Inflation pushing anywhere from 7.5 to 8.5, depending, floating up and down. Gas prices, food prices, commodities. Take a look at the bubble that we're going to have. We're on the borderline of a recession this time next quarter. We know what's happening.
I mean, to your point, Matt, I mean, there's the people out there that will grab their pitchforks and just basically say, hey, orange man bad, we don't like him because of mean tweets and blah, 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 grab him by the pussy. I get it, right? But those aren't the people that are necessarily going to win this war. This is going to come down to when we make it about abortion, economy, inflation, the southern border. If we can keep those items in the headlines, because let's face it, the policies from the prior administration were really strong on those. So if you continue to make it about those items, you stand a really, really strong chance of retaking the White House. But in the meantime, until then, for the people that are just, out there yelling, orange man bad, that's not helping. That doesn't solve anything.
I just, listen, I've come to the point in this show where if I have to give you my resume, I'm just wasting my time. I'm just wasting my time because all I ask is look at my track record. That's all you got to do. Look at Leroy's track record, look at my track record, and make your decision. We're giving advice. And the advice is, this is what the American people are saying. Listen to the American people. That's what they're saying. They don't give a shit about Ron DeSantis. They don't care about Florida. Most Republicans love Florida, and they've never even been there. They just love it because the Democrats hate it. This is the problem. It is black and white politics, and there's no gray area. Ron DeSantis is not the target. The target is Joe Biden. Focus on the target. Why is he waiting?
Exactly.
Why are you waiting? It's prime time. Are you waiting for him to do what happened in 2022 where the numbers all of a sudden change? Because if you think that inflation isn't going to go down, gas prices aren't going to go down, that we're not going to have commodities and stocks level out, the Democrats know what to do right before a frickin' primary. They know what to do before a midterm, and they know what to do before a presidential election. Why do you think gas prices always go down before a presidential election? Why do you think inflation always bottoms out in front of a presidential election? Why do you think taxes are always low during a year right before a presidential election? They know what to do. They go ahead and focus on spending money rather than staying flat. Democrats know what policies work, and so do Republicans. We need to stop pretending that time is on our side here. You need to make your case against Joe Biden right now. And what you should say is, all of the Republicans in the fray, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Whoever else is going to run. Larry fucking Elder. Whoever else is going to come out of the woodwork. Ron DeSantis, lead follower, get out of the way. I am the former president of the United States, and I'm running for president, and I'm going after Joe Biden. You can either get on here and we can take him down together, or get the fuck out of my way. That's what he should be saying. He's not saying that. He's saying, I want to do the shit that makes me popular and number one trending on Twitter. That's not the guy that anybody wants.
Nope.
We don't want him tearing down the future of the Republican Party, because then Ron DeSantis is going to be impotent in Florida when he doesn't get the nomination.
Right. Right. That's a sinking ship. When someone is willing to hack down members of their own party who happen to be very, very strong, that's a sign of weakness. That's someone who knows that their time is coming to an end.
So here it is, folks. You got a choice. And right now, it's the battle of ineptitude. You've got Donald Trump, which America doesn't like. They despise her as much as Republicans despise, they despise him as much as Republicans despise Hillary Clinton. You've got Joe Biden, and America despises Joe Biden, not because of his personality, but because he can't get anything done, and he is horrible at policies. And when he runs out of executive orders, what the hell is he going to do? Because he's 0-6 in the Supreme Court. Think about that. He's 0-6. They lost Roe v. Wade. They lost on Obamacare mandate. They lost on the constitutionality of blocking guns. They lost on the COVID mandate. They're now doing ballots, and obviously the SCOTUS is going to go ahead and push that back as well. And he's going to lose on college tuition, making it free. That's 0-6 in the Supreme Court. The guy can't hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat. And Donald Trump should be talking about this. I installed 2 Supreme Court justices. Here are my policies. Here's my number in the stock market. Here's our overall GNP growth. Here's where inflation was. Here's this. Here's that. And he's not saying any of those things.
Viewer got disconnected.
Oh. That's okay. Well, that's it then. Mm-hmm. We'll call it good. Well, I appreciate it. Listen, here's the thing. If you are if you're a patriot, if you are an ardent patriot, you should be challenging your president. I don't know where we decided in somewhere in the last 4 or 6 years that you can't run your mouth against a sitting president. I don't know when this happened. But it is your patriotic duty to question politicians. They are not your leaders. They're not a god. They're false prophets. And Donald Trump, yes, did a great job for us. And I do believe if he got in, he would do another great job for us. But he's not God. He's not a descendant of Christ. He wasn't put here by God. He's a man. He's made mistakes, and it's important for us to challenge those mistakes. Danny Mayer Jr.'s comments. Hold on.
Yeah, I can tell you what he said.
All right, hold on. Where was it?
He said, I think you are working for some agency. You keep leading people to do the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
What is that, the definition of insanity? What are you, Freud? Did you read that in a Cracker Jack box? He's not talking to me, is he? Danny's been in here before.
Yeah, he is, because somebody asked who, and he said you.
All the media, we're at war having duties describing. Well, he just keeps posting shit. Hold on. Let me just read this guy. Hold on. Okay. Danny Meyer says treason, sedition, and other crimes against humanity. The USA is the largest terrorist organization on the planet. Why do you say that? Give me an example of terrorism that the United States has endorsed. I'll wait, Danny. Danny, why don't you just call in? Jeez, man. I don't have to read all your shit. You're going to make it. Look how tired I am. 804-504-1955. Why don't you just call in? Why is the U.S. the largest terrorist organization on the planet? Please tell me. Willful blindness, Stockholm syndrome. What the hello, people? It's not right. The blood will be on all your hands and will be accountable for. Oh my gosh. Really?
What?
I don't know. He says also, I appreciate you view. Whose view? My view? Somebody else's view?
I have no idea.
Remember the previous crimes against us our government has inflicted. All those career politicians equal treason.
I can't figure out if he's right or left.
Nine. It doesn't matter what he is. See, I don't care about that. 911 equals inside job. What are you talking about, man?
He's a cure.
Dive down some rabbit holes. Take the red pill. Fuck.
Wow.
The WHO directs our health care. I do that. We got each other in psychological warfare from our deep state. TDS goes both ways. Trump derangement syndrome. We have a mental health problem. Government has separated itself from its duties. Herd immunity matters. Herd, H-U-R-D. H-E-R-D. Okay, whatever. Coverage of the face causes problems. Revolutionary. Dude, did you just like fucking molest a fortune cookie? What the hell's going on with you? Our government has failed. Too much money printed. Too many crimes against us. Y'all go ahead and prop up a despotic government. Despotism? It's a good word. I think you're working for some agency. You keep leading people to do the same thing, expecting a different outcome. Please tell me what agency you think I work for. The funny thing is you would probably have a 1 in 10 chance of actually being right. Working for now, but working for in the past, absolutely. I've never denied that. I've worked for several alphabet agencies. What's your point? I'm not sure what it is. Danny, you're sporadic at best. I'm sure you have some CIA and DOD. Yeah. Don't forget the NRO. Maybe the O&I too. Is there anything else? So what does that mean? Because I've worked for alphabet agencies that somehow what? What are you trying to say? That I created a show out of my own pocket, put $20,000 of my own money, lost money in the first year, and tolerate people like you who question my credibility? That's why I did this? Oh yeah, every day and twice on Sunday, bro. I'm also missing my Colorado Avalanche game 5. So I'm not sure what you're saying, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. What I'm telling people to do is to open up their eyes to the fact that politicians are not to be revered. I think you would agree with that. It sounds like you would. But you're saying we should revere politicians, that we should see them as leaders, that we should swear fealty to them? Is that what you're looking for? Because that's what it sounds like, because that's all I've said. To call out politicians for their faults, to hold them accountable for their actions, to not see them as despots. And that's what you're saying. You're saying we should do that, right? Because you're arguing me. You're calling me a shill for alphabet agencies trying to get people to do what exactly? I think I'm trying to get people to challenge the government. I think I'm getting people to stop surrendering the Constitution and their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for some sort of stamp that makes them a left or a right puppet. How is that me shilling for an alphabet agency? I'm interested here. Why won't you call in? Are you afraid that the phone has microbes and they're going to enter your brain and take over you? Is that what you think? The lizard people are going to come down and put you in Guantanamo Bay? Which one? Is this guy even still on? Definitely don't mean any disrespect. You were qualified and called you no name, sir. Well, you certainly called me a name. You said I shill for alphabet agencies. What the fuck do you think that is? That's not an insult? Please tell me how that's not insulting to a person of intelligence, to a person who puts their time to have amicable discourse with people, that puts themselves out there so we can have a conversation and stay informed on things. Please explain how that isn't an insult. Or should we all just trust the plan?
Probably
trust the plan.
It's all part of the plan.
Yeah, trust the plan. Let's trust the plan. Olivia, you got a final minute since Leroy got disconnected. He had to go. Well, Danny, you did say that. Danny, because I've been saying the opposite. And Danny, you've been on my show before and you have never said what you just said about me unless it wasn't about me. And if I'm overreacting, please let me know. Because I've fairly enjoyed your comments. In fact, you've been fairly positive and you add things that are not as nonsensical as they are tonight. I mean, you're all over the fucking map tonight. You're on 9/11, you're on space aliens, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about tonight. But what do you mean I'm working for an agency? Please be very specific on what you're trying to say. Help me understand what that means. And if I was, how would you know? And if I wasn't, how would you know? Because if I've been successful enough to convince 165,000 people and another 100,000 on podcasts and fool them all, that means I'm pretty good at my job. What you doing?
Going to bed.
You tired?
Yeah.
All right, come over and say goodnight. We're saying goodnight too because we want to go watch the game. I love you.
Love you.
Good night, sweet pea. Danny, have you served in the military and have done these things to other governments that you think are Harford to ours?
Okay.
I've served in special operations that have done these things. There's no way whatever you're talking about could be covered up. That's true. Mike Blankman is an operator. Leroy has worked for special operations. I have been a janitor. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know. I really don't know. But if you think that I work for a government agency, brother, I don't even collect my disability. Livia, true or false?
True.
Did I waive my disability? True or
Yes.
false? Did I go ahead and surrender my disability and donate it to vets?
Yes.
Yeah. I had a disability pension from the government. I gave it up because I'm able to work. The only thing I've ever taken advantage of from disability is my home loan, my GI Bill, and one tax break that I got for fighting my service-connected disability that I did not receive, even though I was eligible at the time, and went back and got a credit for that. Other than that, I've never taken advantage. All my teeth, how much did we spend? $20,000?
God.
$24,000 on my teeth?
About 25 and you still have more to go.
Yeah, 25,000. My back, how much did the government pay?
0, because we tried. We really did try. We sat at the VA.
The VA.
And they told us no, but all in all, it was probably about 750,000, somewhere in that area was your back. That was just your fusion. That wasn't all the injections and the discectomy and the hundreds of doctor's appointments before that.
Yeah. So Danny, it's not hard to talk to me. Just do me a favor, man. I don't have any hard feelings. I'm not sensitive. It's fine. You can think whatever you want, but thinking something is different than stating fact. So when you say you must, that's pretty definitive. That means you have some sort of inside knowledge that I work for an alphabet agency. I would love for you to tell me how you think you know that. And
Danny, just call in. Some people are defending you and saying you're cool, but your comments have been misdrued. So why don't you just call in and defend your point, and so we can move on.
I even defended you, Danny. I said I've seen you on the show fine. I told you you're a good guy. You say good things. I don't have a problem with you. Does it seem like I have a problem with you now? I'm just challenging your fucked up comment. I just think your comment's stupid. That's it. I think you're off your game tonight, and I get there. I'll be honest with you. Everyone gets there. But I think your comment's dumb, and I don't think you should have made it. And I think it was stupid. You don't owe me an apology, and I don't care. But if you think I work for the DOD or the CIA, it's yeah. I wish I had that much influence. I wish I was that important. Looks like Danny's calling in. All right, Danny, where are you from? All right, Danny, hold on a second. Tennessee, hold on, buddy. Let me get your audio in here. I hope you know I'm giving up my Colorado Avalanche game to talk to you. Hold on.
Right, thanks.
It is a sacrifice. Colorado Avalanche is important. It's a big game. Can everyone hear Danny? Everyone give me a thumbs up if you can hear Danny. Hold on.
Hi, everybody.
All right, hold on. Let's see if Danny can hear. If they can hear you, buddy. Everyone hear Danny right there? It takes about 20 seconds because we have a delay. And
hi, Danny.
That's Olivia.
Hi.
Danny.
Hi, Olivia.
Yeah, everyone
can hear.
Everyone needs to stop going after people who challenge me. Geez, guys, I'm sitting here telling you to challenge Donald Trump, and then somebody challenges me, and everyone gets pissed off. All right, I'm going to assume they can hear you. Danny, go. Go ahead and tell me what the hell I'm missing. What am I missing?
Well, you're just missing where I'm coming from is all. You know, what I'm doing is I'm trying to wake people up too. And that's about it. I mean, that's all I can do right now.
All right. So let's specifically address the comment that I must work for an agency, because I really don't care about anything else. What does that mean?
Well, it was a feeling I get because I've been to a lot of rallies and stuff. You know, I'm a regular. I'm not former military. I'm a family man. I raised my family, did what I was supposed to do, and that's all done. So now I'm doing what I feel like I need to do as an American and as one of God's children.
Okay.
And
you understand
it's
how
a
that didn't
feeling.
answer my question at all, right?
Well, no, I'm trying to tell you where I'm coming from. See, I get these feelings, and because words do matter, and I'm not very good at words, or at least not as good as you. So I mess up on my words that I use sometimes, but or a lot actually.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to wake people up, and I get.
Right. So let me ask the question, Danny, because I get. Listen, I want to get to my game, but I want to give you the time. Do you believe that I work for an alphabet agency?
I'm not sure. I'm questioning.
Okay. Please tell me why you're questioning.
Well, because you have the resume, okay? You have the resume, and I understand that we are in a wartime situation that a lot of people don't understand. And I understand the psychological warfare that was going on. I loved psychology. It was awesome. Everything I learned, I try to use it now because I'm that age.
Yeah,
So it's
it's a feeling you have. So what is it specifically that I say that makes you feel that I work for an alphabet agency? I'm trying to understand, Danny, but I can't.
Maybe
it seems like I want here. Danny, hold on. Let me give you permission. I want you to stop pulling your fucking punches and just say what you mean, and it's not going to hurt my feelings.
Well, I'm trying to do that. I'm not trying to punch anybody. I'm just trying to.
No. But you're going to have to. You're going to have to in this case. You're going to have to punch me in the mouth. You're going to have to tell me, Matt, you do this, and this is a sign, and this is what I believe. Because if you don't, we're just going to keep dancing around and grabbing each other's, breasts. And I don't want to dance with you, man. I just want you to tell me why you think the way you feel.
It's the words that you use sometimes.
Words?
I can't give you specifics because I just roll, and I'm very sensitive. I'm like,
okay. So there's signs that I'm giving off. Well, that would make sense. You understand my background or no?
I do. And I understand that. That's why I say, I think, or I believe. I don't know.
Okay.
And
so let me just tell you, dude, I worked for the United States government from 1994 to 1999 in the capacity with the United States Navy. I worked in an intel capacity. I had a CSI or top secret SCI clearance, compartmentalized. It was very high clearance. I spent time in the Pentagon. I spent time overseas. I spent time on both coasts. I did a lot of things. I saw 26 different countries. I had 3 C schools and I had 1 A school, and I was deep in the thick of it. I spent time working. Seriously, Livia?
I have no idea.
I worked time with 3 different alphabet agencies, spent time with the NRO, the ONI, and yes, I did some work with the CIA. That ended in 1999 because my capacity was working with people side by side. I then had a bad accident in the military, hurt my back, hurt my body, parachute accident. I left. I went into contracting, worked for the government, GS positions, spent a lot of time in the Pentagon, worked in Colorado, and I still worked intelligence for the United States government in some capacity, off and on, for quite a few years after that. My relationship with the United States government has been over for at least 17 years.
Okay.
I have no relationships. I have no pending clearance. I have lifetime commitments that I'm unable to talk about, but I still have active contacts in special forces, military intelligence, MARSOC overseas in Israel, in England, in all over the fucking world. And I still have relationships that I cultivate here in Washington. I've got state legislatures who I speak with frequently. I have Border Patrol directors in training I work with, DEA, CIA, FBI, and I've got relationships. I have never left the community completely because you never really do. But I do not work for the government in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. That's awesome. That makes me feel better. Now I won't pay attention to some of those words and probably just go right by them like normal, and I can get over that.
I don't know what words though, because it's
like conspiracy.
Okay. Well, you understand that conspiracy is a real thing, right? It wasn't just a CIA made up trope to discredit people, even though that's what people say. That conspiracies have been going on since the days of Greek and the Lemnos Isles, and they were with the Romans. And conspiracy has always been around. In fact, the etymology of the word is ancient.
Right. But everything is weaponized now.
Well, sure it is. But that doesn't mean that I'm weaponizing it. Okay, let me ask you a question. 9/11, you said it's an inside job. Why?
I just feel in my gut those airplanes did not bring down those buildings. I don't see the scientific connection to bringing those buildings down. Those planes would have been demolished before they got a quarter of the way in. And Otis elevator, you know about that?
Yeah, are we talking about, we're going to link it to thermite? Go ahead. Tell me about the Otis elevator.
Otis elevator, well, they got replaced by Ace a short time before 9/11. And I'm sure that right there was part of the, planting of whatever they had to plant and do.
Right, and that's what I mentioned, the thermite, because that's the only thing that's going to go ahead and cut steel rebar. Let me ask you a question. How much thermite would it have taken to go ahead and completely sever an entire floor or multiple levels of the Twin Towers? How many metric tons of thermite would that have taken?
I have no clue. I'm just a carpenter.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. According to the calculations that you're talking about, hundreds of thousands of pounds of thermite would be required in order to make the cuts necessary, and even if it would bring it down. Because thermite doesn't necessarily is used to bring down any major structures. In fact, thermite is usually a prerequisite for the cuts to weaken steel beams, and then they use explosives to finish it off, so it maintains its structural integrity. I can tell you an operation of that scale would require hundreds of people working over day and night. And the question is, why?
Well, that's that's where everything starts to become conspiracy theory, because you can't prove a lot of things.
Well, you can't prove it because there's no. Well, see, here's the thing. It's not about proving it. You don't have to prove it. If there's no evidence of it, then there's nothing to prove. See, that's the problem with conspiracy theory. It's an applied it's not an applied science. It's an applied emotional thought with conjecture and supposition. It's sheer speculation. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. People speculated over the Kennedy assassination for decades. I was one of them. And that's okay. And honestly, you ready? Here, I'll say it right now. I'm going to show you I'm not a government plant. You ready? Building 7. No, listen to me. Listen to me. Danny, I'm going to give it to you. Building 7 was brought down. With everything in my soul, there's no fucking way that building came down the way it did without controlled demolition. There's no way.
Well, they all look like that to me.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because there's one thing you're forgetting. There's one thing you're forgetting. Are you an outdoorsman?
Yes.
Have you ever put wood on a metal grate?
Yes.
What happens to that metal grate at the end of the season?
It's used for something else.
That's right, because it's essentially weakened and it's melted down and it's completely gone, unless you buy a really good one. Like you buy a real serious good one, you're good. That temperature is 30% of what the temperature that they saw inside those towers. Liquid jet fuel is not a burn off. It is a sticky, it is like a napalm density. And the only thing that stops it, and I know this because I'm DC certified because I was in the Navy, is AFFF, aqueous free-forming foam. Otherwise, water spreads it around. It gets extremely hot.
Let's assume that the airplanes melted it and it brought the whole building down.
Well, the airplanes didn't melt it. I want to make sure I'm clear and finish my thought. What you had was a furnace. The reason why is you saw an exterior and interior punch holes in both of the buildings, which created convection. Convection is ultimately what a furnace uses in order to get as hot as it does. So the ramifications, I understand you understand, but I'm going to explain it anyway, like I'm talking to a child, because I don't know what you do and don't understand. I'm going to tell you, you keep challenging me that it's thermite, and I'm going to explain to you why it very well is the explanation that we've received. But people are assuming that you light JP5 on fuel or jet fuel on fire, and that's its extreme heat profile. And that's not true. There's other ramifications that increase its heat signature based upon the amount of fuel and the consumption and convection and wind. And when you've ever been to the top of the towers, even Sears Tower, you know that the wind at that height is 70, 80 miles an hour. If you've been to the top of the towers, which I have, you know that they sway back and forth and they're built that way. You created convection and wind tunnels for that fire to become a furnace, which weaken the support columns. And if you take those 13, 17, 25 floors above and the amount of weight that that has, the only place it can disperse it is below it. It doesn't go out, it doesn't go up, it doesn't disperse in any other way. And it goes into, whether it's just a foot of a drop or a knot, it goes into a deadfall. And the inertia of that building coming down pancakes all the way down because the independent floor can't take it. So it transfers to the next floor. And the exponential energy of the mass above it was not significantly reduced by the friction below it. It's a simple matter of physics, and it's been proven over and over. So when you say there is no evidence, that's a lie. There is evidence, you just don't agree with it.
I guess you might be right about that. I don't agree with all the evidence that's been presented because we've been in a psychological war.
But I do, because my father was a fire captain, and he was a fire science professor, and he understands thermodynamics better than just about anybody I ever knew. And I didn't need to ask him a single question to understand what happened in this situation. I understand your hesitancy. I understand your trepidation. But Building 7 was brought down because it was a national security risk. And that was an intel heart of that area of New York City. Every single piece of class information that was obtained from the FBI, CIA, ONI, DOD, Defense Investigative Services, and everyone else was housed in Building 7. It was unsecure. The area was completely exfilled. There was no security there for any of the electronic countermeasures that were in place or any of the ramifications that were put in place to stop anyone from entering that building. And it was a security breach. And it's not difficult to go underneath it, which is full of tunnels, and go ahead and collapse that entire building.
Is it so much of a stretch, Matt, to think that maybe there weren't charges planted below where those impacts happened?
Yeah, but that wouldn't have brought down the top of the building first. Yes, not for buildings 1 and 2, but yes, for World Trade Center 7, I believe the Army Corps of Engineers went underneath the ground. They went ahead and det corded that whole fucking thing. That's why you didn't hear anything. And you saw the systematic of it going in its own footprint. And that's the only way to do it, like pulling a blanket or a tablecloth from dishes. Essentially, you just took out the underneath support structures and blew all those columns, and the thing went in and fell in on itself. It looks like a controlled demolition. Building 1 and 2 does not.
Oh, that's an opinion.
No, it's not. I can actually show you hundreds of demolitions on multiple buildings, and none of them look like what happened to Building 1 and Building 2. It just don't. It was a complete symmetrical explosion. You don't see blowout before the fall takes place. There wouldn't be any glass anywhere. You would hear the explosions. Pop, 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 pop. You don't hear any of that. None of that.
Well, I wasn't there. I wasn't there, and like I say, everything is weaponized. I just plain don't trust this government because of the crimes that they have committed against us, and everything they put out just about is a lie with a little bit of truth on it, just to make it tasty for everybody.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying there. I'm just challenging your thought process on 9/11 because it can be truth and it can be lies at the same time. You understand that?
Yes, I do, and it's just so irritating to be in this war. I've been aware of this since 2014. I've been in this same span, just for this little while. But I'm too old to be going to war.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't take offense to what you said. I don't take offense to anything anyone says. And I think people shouldn't jump on you if you disagree with me. That's the point. I just have one rule. When you say something like... I know, but they should defend you too, because you're more important than me, because you're what keeps the lights on and make the shows go around. Your contributions are important to me. So in no way am I upset. Let me just say one more thing, and I'll button this up. The one rule I have here is when you say you must, that's fact. So what you could have said is, Matt, sometimes, you really frustrate me, and I think sometimes you're working with the government. That's different. That's an emotion. That's a thought process. You're working it out. But when you say you must, it trivializes what I'm doing here, right? and it discredits me, and nobody gets to do that but my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
All right, good enough. Danny, I like you a lot, man. I want you to keep calling in, and I want you were all over the place tonight, man. I mean, you were all over the place. Can we try again tomorrow or the next time and have you come on and we can chat and not talk about 9/11 and Bigfoot and Kennedy, and we can talk about some of the things that are going on now in Ukraine and with the government and Biden and have a good conversation?
I'd like to do that. That'd be fun.
I'd like you to do that too, man. I appreciate you. All right, brother. God bless. Thanks for calling me tonight. Let's do it again, okay?
Thanks, Danny.
God bless you and yours.
All right, Danny. Bye-bye. Yeah, folks, we don't have to jump on people. You know, I understand you're trying to defend me, but does anyone here actually think that I can't defend myself against anybody? I love you for it. I appreciate it, but Danny's one of the good ones. And even if he was one of the bad ones, I don't care. If he thinks that I'm a paid government informant or whatever, fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I know who I am, and I don't need to defend it against anybody. I like the guy. And I like everybody as long as you want to have a conversation. Olivia, I think that's it. We got to go watch the game. Folks, listen, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Thank you for spending the time with us tonight. We'll be back on Friday. I think tomorrow I'm going to do a recorded show in the morning, and I'm taking the night off. I think Olivia deserves time with me. I'm going to give you that gift. Oh, would you like that, sweetie? Would you like the gift of me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Harder. Harder. I'm going to go stuff my face with fucking Pepperidge Farm.
Is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted?
Oh, it's true.
Oh, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
See, I'm not the only person that drops stuff. You just drop.
She likes me because I can lick my eyebrows. All right, folks. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Stop by thedumbshow.com. Go pick yourself up a cool shirt, a hat. Also, Percival Flag Company right here. This is Jason's company. They build the flag behind me. They make great flags. Please go and take a look. Thanks for watching tonight. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Danny, thanks for calling in. Thanks for the people who challenged. Nobody take it personal. It's not important. Rhonda, don't get upset at me. I know one of our listeners who's been listening a long time, I think Sherry, got upset and thought I was mad at her. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't care. I love everybody on this show. And just because I call you out, it doesn't mean it's not personal.
Hey, and everyone, just so you know, it's Mark Me. M-A-R-K.
Mock me.
Not mock me.
Mock me.
Everyone's saying mock me. M-O-C-K.
Mock me.
It's Mark. Like
he says it like mock, but it's like
mark my words.
Write it down. Right?
Like
it means write it down.
Words.
Stamp it. Seal of approval. Wax. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. I don't know why we're able to enjoy our freedom.
Hey, everybody, I know we have a hot mic. Don't
your
worry
service
about
is
it. We
important. You are important. For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call